Now, the Migos didn't just define a sound, they defined a generation. But behind the jewelry, the Billboard hits, and sold out arenas, well, trouble was a brewing, and there were tension amongst the boys. Now, there was betrayal, and eventually there was a sudden tragedy. Now, three family members, they went from dominating the charts together to unfollowing each other online, to standing opposite sides at a funeral of one of their beloved. Now, this is the story of how one of hip-hop's most iconic groups, well, they fell apart and why. And well, it's unlikely that they'll ever be the same again. Now, this is the rise, the fracture, and the aftermath of the Migos. Chapter 1, the beginning. Before they were the Migos, well, they were just three kids from North Atlanta. Now, Quavis Marshall, aka Quavo, well, he was the eldest. Kershig Ball, aka Takeoff, he was his nephew. And Kiari Cephas, Offset, well, he was Quavo's cousin, and they were literally family. Now, they all started rapping together back in 2008 under the name Polo Club. Now, eventually, they became the Migos, a nod to the cultural slang of, Three Amigos, a movie very few people have watched who love the Migos, but still a good reference nonetheless. Now, their first breakout, it was in 2013 with Versace, but it wasn't just a hit, it was a blueprint. The Migos, they brought the triplet flow to the mainstream. Their ad-libs, they were background noise, they were hooks. The culture was shifting, and Migos, they were leading it. With hits like Fight Night, Handsome and Wealthy, and Look at My Dab, they became the faces of trap's second wave. I remember someone introducing me to Hannah Montana, and I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but this is a hit. But the real moment, 2017's Culture. I mean, who didn't download a copy of that? Oh my God, game changer. It was popular at the football games. It was popular at the strip clubs. Everyone was loving the Culture. Chapter 2, the height of their power. Now, Culture didn't just win awards, it solidified Migos as mainstream royalty. Bad and Bougie, it became a cultural anthem, topping the Billboard Hot 100. Offset's, Drop Top, well, that became a meme so big, it practically belonged on a Hallmark card. And the trio, well, they were everywhere. We're talking Saturday Night Live, Coachella, they were even on Ellen. Then came Culture 2. 24 tracks, 105 minutes, three artists fully in their prime. But here's the thing, while the success was undeniable, well, cracks were already starting to show. Now, some fans, they said the music, it felt bloated. Others noticed a shift in dynamic. Interviews, they got more awkward. We all remember Joe Budden. There were jokes that didn't land behind the scenes. Well, the business side, it was getting a little messy. Now, they were navigating solo ambitions, and not everyone was on the same page. Just like any football team, someone becomes the quarterback, and they're getting a little more attention than the rest. And then one guy, he decides to date the prom queen, Cardi B. You see where I'm going with this. Chapter 3, cracks in the foundation. By 2021, Offset had started distancing himself from the trio. He was now married to Cardi B, had multiple solo features, and he was pushing his own projects. Now, Quavo and Takeoff, well, they were still locked in the studio together. They were appearing on red carpets as a pair, and Offset, well, he was elsewhere with you-know-who. Now, the trio, they weren't really saying much publicly, but online, well, the silence was loud. Now, in May of 2022, the rumors, they became real. Fans noticed Offset and Cardi B, well, they had unfollowed Quavo and Takeoff on Instagram. Then, just weeks later, well, Quavo and Takeoff, they dropped Hotel Lobby as a duo. Their new name, Unk and Few. Pretty good, right? Not as catchy as Migos, but And in an interview with Big Facts Podcast, well, Quavo, he dropped the bomb. I just feel like we want to see our career as a duo right now. Now, sometimes loyalty is more than just words. That last line, it hit fans like a punch. It confirmed what everyone had feared. The Migos, well, they weren't a trio anymore. Chapter 4, the loss of Takeoff. On November 1st, 2022, well, tragedy struck. Now, Takeoff, just 28 years old, well, the guy was shot and killed in Houston after playing a game of dice. Now, he was at a private event outside of a bowling alley, and reports say the incident, it wasn't even about him. Now, he wasn't arguing, he wasn't involved in a confrontation, just standing nearby when a stray bullet took his life. Now, the news, it said shockwaves through the music world, and Migos fans, well, they were completely devastated. For Quavo and Offset, well, it was beyond music. This was family. And suddenly, all the petty silence, well, it just didn't matter anymore. Legitimately, no longer a trio. One of the members has fatally been shot, gone, killed. Now, in the months after, well, both men, they did pay tribute. Quavo released Without You, a heartbreaking letter to his nephew. Now, Offset, he got tribute tattoos, he wrote messages, and broke down on stage. Now, the tension had thawed, if only because grief left no room for ego. And honestly, this was touching to see. I know many an award show, they paid tribute. I'm just getting shivers talking about it. You imagine losing someone you came up with, that you were related to. Don't get any tougher than that. Chapter 5, the reunion. On June 25th, 2023, well, something no one expected happened. Now, Offset and Quavo, they took the stage together at the BET Awards. Now, the moment, a surprise tribute to Takeoff. As Bad and Bougie played, well, fans, they broke down. The tension, the silence, it was gone. Now, later that year, well, Offset would clarify, "We're good now, that's my brother." And the music industry, well, they were watching. Not because they wanted Migos back, because they finally saw some healing. Now, in that moment, the beef, it was irrelevant. And the music, it meant something again. Chapter 6, where they stand now. Today, the two remaining members of the Migos, they walk different paths. Now, Quavo, he dropped Rocket Power, his most personal work yet. And Offset, he released Set It Off, a high-energy solo album that finally let him step fully into his own lane. As for Takeoff, well, his voice, it still echoes in verses, in memories, and of course, in many a fan tribute. Now, there's no official Migos reunion planned, but in a way, well, they don't really need one. I mean, the culture they built, it's still moving strong. Their flow is now the industry standard. Their blueprint is still being copied. And their brotherhood, though bruised, well, it still exists in the space between songs. But of course, everything isn't always a happy ending. There's been plenty of headline about Offset and his divorce from Cardi B. Once the power couple of hip hop and Hollywood, well, the two have had an ugly divorce. There's been discussions about child support coming from Cardi B to Offset. And there's been many a viral clip of Offset gambling away his fortune at a casino. Now, I'm not one to know the inside and out of this relationship, but it seems like the man is still hurting from something. Maybe it's, losing his brothers that he came up with. Maybe it's, losing the love of his life. I'm not sure, but man, it's always tough to be in the spotlight with everyone watching your every move. And the man sometimes just wants to chill, I'm guessing. I hope he saved a few of them millions, multi-millions, tens of millions he made along the way. Now, the story of the Migos, it wasn't just about trap music, it was about family. And like most families, well, there's love, there's pain, there's silence, but eventually there's forgiveness. From Culture One to taking over Hollywood to moments of chaos and then reconnecting, the Migos became legends not because they were perfect, but because they were true to themselves. They were talking about being in a trap house from the start, and then they went on to having the biggest houses in all the worlds, and still, they kept to who they were from the very beginning. Three voices that rose together, fell apart, and found each other again through Boss. And while the music might never sound the same, the legacy, well, it's louder than ever. Shout out to me when you first heard Bad and Bougie or your first Migos song in the comments down below. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this new updated format we've been doing here on this channel. If you're new to this channel, be sure to subscribe. We drop celebrity biographies and docu-series each and every week. My name, of course, is Michael McCrudden. If you want to support the channel, you can hit subscribe, ring the bell, become a member, or you can check out our merch over at beforetheyarefamous.com. It's good to be back. I'm having a blast making these new videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Boom!